What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video here, Chris's MMA Universe. And for this video here, I just want to cover a little bit about what happened at UFC 240, give you a quick aftermath video here. I'm just going to be going over the co-main event and the main event, starting with the main event. So the main event, which was Max Holloway versus Frankie Edgar, was a fight that Max Holloway needed to kind of beat who was left, like to kind of be a legend of the sport who has been on a journey in featherweight to try to capture the featherweight title after already being the lightweight champion years ago in Frankie Edgar. So it seems like this fight between them was scheduled a couple times, and they finally ended up being able to make it done, get it done. And I know Alexander Volkanovski was actually making weight just in case they needed a replacement, because I guess, fell through a couple times. But I'm very happy, and I'm sure you guys are very happy as well, that this fight was finally able to get done. And in the fight, I mean, it was pretty much a technical, display of Max Holloway being able to just pretty much win by just being purely technical, and like how Joe Rogan said, his educated jab. And it just seemed like Max Holloway was just way too much for Frankie Edgar in this fight. I didn't think it was going to go any other way. I didn't think Frankie Edgar was going to be able to actually display anything towards Max Holloway to be able to capture the title. I didn't think he was going to win the fight. I, of course, wanted to see a great fight, as I always do, and I'm sure you guys always do too. But I just didn't think Frankie Edgar was going to be able to get it done. I mean, Max Holloway looked crisp. He looked like he had something to prove coming off of that loss against Dustin Poirier, and, in the lightweight division, of course. But it looks like featherweight is definitely Max Holloway's weight class, where he is the king of that weight class. He's going to remain on that throne, it looks like, for a great while. And honestly, what I did see, though, in that fight was Frankie Edgar being able to kind of stump Max Holloway's volume. Like, he wasn't able to display the volume of strikes and punches that we usually see Max Holloway display on other fighters in the past, and in the featherweight division. So it seemed like Frankie Edgar was able to stump that. Now, yes, of course, Frankie Edgar was actually getting, he was taking a lot of strikes in that fight. I do understand, I do agree. But he was able to stop the volume. There wasn't a lot of volume being thrown to where Frankie Edgar didn't have any kind of answer. It was just like he just wasn't able to display the same amount of volume that we were able to see in the past. So I think that was actually pretty impressive. I mean, Frankie Edgar's speed is still there. His head movement's still there. You could see the hunger in Frankie Edgar in his fights. He doesn't look old. He doesn't look slow. It's not like he's losing it. I really do believe, like he said in the Octagon post-fight interview, I do believe that he still does have a lot of fight in him. And what Joe Rogan asked him, which I believe would be a great test for Frankie Edgar, kind of consider to go down to bantamweight. I can see Frankie Edgar being dominant in the bantamweight division with the time that he has left in the sport. And I know 37 is kind of up there for a fighter, but in Frankie Edgar, I don't know. You can never really count him out. I'm not saying Frankie Edgar should be done. I would love to see him fight, more than a few more times. And, it just seems like in the featherweight division where it just seems like and I heard this in an interview, I know that if Frankie Edgar goes against the elite in like these weight classes, it seems like, yes, of course, he is able to beat men in these weight classes. He's able to, I mean, come on, he was the lightweight champion. So he was able to beat those bigger men, but then it seems like when he gets up to like the elite, like the Benson Hendersons and, the Max Holloways and, like these guys that are just a little too much for him, to where they're just a little too big for him. So I would like to see him drop down to bantamweight. I don't know if Frankie Edgar will do that, but hats off to Max Holloway. Hats off to both men. They displayed a great fight. And it seems like Max Holloway didn't want to. I guess this is what I take from what he was saying, is that he didn't want to finish Frank Yeager. He wanted to go with him for 5 rounds, because some people were saying that he wouldn't be able to stay with the pace of Frank Yeager, as if, you know, he just wouldn't be able to keep up. And he displayed everything and anything that he needed to display to silence any critic out there. And honestly, I mean, I don't really know why people would actually even think that. I mean, Max Holloway has one of the best gas tanks in the sport. You know, I mean, definitely in the featherweight division. So it was just weird for people to say that. But this fight was great. I loved it. Hope you guys loved it. And I'm just going to move on to the co-main event, which was Chris Cyborg versus Felicia Spencer. Chris Cyborg went in there with absolute power, where she was tagging Felicia Spencer. And the thing that I took from that was Chris Cyborg hit Felicia Spencer with knockout power, knockout punches, punches that ended the night for other fighters. I mean, that she fought. I mean, we're talking knock KO punches that she was catching Felicia with. And also, not just punches, you know, knees to the body, punches to the body. I mean, elbows to Felicia. I mean, now, don't get me wrong. Felicia was firing back. The thing I saw in Felicia was not quitting at all in this fight. There was no retreat from her. I didn't sense any retreat from her. It was just, Felicia was actually showing that she was a true featherweight. That was a true featherweight going against another true featherweight. So Felicia being able to just absorb these punches was something that I did not think was going to happen. I mean, I know a lot of people thought Chris Cyborg was going to go out there and just steamroll Felicia Spencer. And that did not happen at all. It seems like Chris Cyborg, you know, it was kind of like you kind of had to question her confidence going in there, like after she gave Felicia Spencer her best punches. I mean, Felicia Spencer was taking her best punches, her best strikes, and was just still there. I mean, she was not giving up. She was still firing back. She was still giving everything she had. And her stock definitely went up, even after that loss. And I know Chris Cyborg went in there. She ended up saying that she got her first cut from Felicia Spencer on her forehead. And, you know, honestly, Chris Cyborg just went in there. It seemed like she had something to prove. Now, yes, that did seem like the same Chris Cyborg that we usually see, you know, with her stiffness and her in her punches and, you know, just her brute strength. And it just seemed like Chris Cyborg seemed a little, like, slightly hesitant. Where, now, don't get me wrong, yeah, she was throwing everything she had at her. But she just seemed, like I said, you know, where you had to ask, where's her confidence going in now? Because Felicia's just taking everything that she has and still coming forward, you know? So, but that actually shows a lot of character. It shows the toughness. It shows the grit. It shows the fight IQ, the experience of a fighter when a fighter just keeps marching forward. And, you know, you're like, you know, what can I do? I hit this person with everything but the kitchen sink, and they're just still coming after me. But you just keep it going. You know, you keep your composure. And Felicia Spencer, and, you know, just being the fighter that she is, I know this is her first loss. I know she's going to come back stronger. It's just that, you know, Chris Cyborg is just, you know, she's still a monster in that division. She's the best fighter besides Amanda Nunes. And, you know, I would say she's the second best fighter definitely in that division, you know, after Amanda Nunes. But she's still a monster, you know, and Felicia definitely took on a monster. And she displayed something great, though. You know, these both fighters, they went out there and they left everything in there. Felicia Spencer left everything in there. There was nothing more that she could have done. and everything that she did do. Hats off to her. I actually loved Felicia Spencer even more after seeing this display. And I'm telling you, her stock went up. There's no way that anything went down for her. People are going to want to see her more and more. And Chris Cyborg got it done, though. Hats off for Chris Cyborg. I know Chris Cyborg ended up mentioning to Dana White after this fight that she wants Amanda Nunes. And, Dana White, of course, he always responds with, "We'll talk." And, we'll see what happens. But, so I guess we'll see. We'll see if Chris Cyborg's actually going to take on Amanda Nunes again. But, there's people lining up for Amanda Nunes, but nobody really worth watching anymore, right? I mean, Amanda Nunes beat the who's who, so it would be great to see Chris Cyborg versus Amanda Nunes. I think that would do great numbers. So it looks like for these fights, the co-main event and main event, it looks like for the main event, it's going to be Alexander Volkanovski taking on Max Holloway next. I think that's next in line for Max Holloway, and he welcomes that challenge, as he said himself. And we'll see if Amanda Nunes takes on Chris Cyborg. But if you guys enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe, smash the like button, leave your comments. I want to know what you guys thought about this UFC, about the co-main event and main event. And I'll see all you guys in the next one.